welcome to another episode of Chopp'n It Up. I'm your host, Ryan Went, and here with me today, Mr. Alex Thompson, driver the number 16, correct?
Yes.
16 all the time?
16 all the time.
16 all the time. I like that because I'm 40 all the time, so you don't ever have to change anything. Alex, where are you racing out of?
I'm racing out of Bismarck, North Dakota.
Bismarck, North Dakota. That's up there a ways. And your old man's working, isn't he?
Yep.
That's
my dad.
perfect.
Yeah, they're trying to do some remodel in the house because they got a new washer and dryer, and
Right on.
old one wasn't working very well.
Hey, buddy, you gotta do what you gotta do, and you only gotta work with in your confinement. I'm in a trailer, and this whole rig is like just off the living room. So
Yeah,
I got three little ones. That's hard keeping them off of it.
I would be in my own place, but internet's not the best there right now. So
Something that's improving, or what's going on?
we're working on it. Me and my dad and my fiance are in the process of working to see where we can do better with the Wi-Fi. So
right on. I'll tell you what, man. I live in the middle of Florida, and I have Starlink, and that is like the best satellite internet money can buy.
yeah.
So, it might be something to look into, but. So, I like to word my stuff carefully. I don't want to piss anybody off. But it's safe to say that you're Jason's protege?
Yes and no. I'm kind of learning from different people. So, like, Jason's been helping me learn to drive the trucks better. I've been getting better help from some of you guys, like you, obviously, and some other people. But I just kind of learn around because, I mean, I race in real life too, but I race front wheel drive, not used to rear wheel and this stuff. So
hanging on. Yeah.
So it just learning curve.
I will tell you, there's something that you just said that already kind of bugged me. Is, you said you're learning from better drivers like myself, Jason, whomever. Brother, you need to change your mentality on that, especially in real life racing, because if Stryker, John, Nate, especially Nate, Andrew Payne, any of those guys, if anybody was like, hey, man, do you think you could beat me in a race? I'm going to say yes every single damn time. Like, you got to boost that confidence up, man. Just say, hey, man, we all have the skill set, right? I mean, hell, It's just pushing down the pedal and turning a wheel. It's just fine-tuning it to where it's like perfect harmony. You and I, we're just cranking on a guitar, we don't know the chords yet. That's all it is, brother.
Yeah, I don't mean to offend anybody. It's just, ever since coming into iRacing, I've always been that type of person. I don't mean to get on people's bad side. Just want to be on their good side. Just want to race. Just want to have fun. And when I'm on someone's bad side, I feel like I messed up. Like, I don't want that to be one of my flaws. Like, I'm trying to avoid it, but sometimes I just can't.
Let me ask you this. And obviously, any of these questions throughout the podcast, you don't have to answer them if they make you uncomfortable. Mm-hmm. Do you think people are mad or hate you because it's like you're just they think you're a bad driver, or do you think it's just in the moment thing? Heat of the moment.
I honestly think it's not so much heat of the moment. Well, I think it's half and half, to be honest. Sometimes you get that heat of the moment. Other times people just think I'm a bad driver. And if they think I'm a bad driver, okay, it's on them. I'm kind of down the middle. I think it's half and half, more say.
Okay. It's interesting that you said that, because I think people in general are hateful people. I know for sure I'm one of those people. I'm new year, new me, so I'm trying to work on that shit myself. Not that I hate people for different reasons. Mm-hmm. It's just I think I'm fairly good at reading people, but I think more people, I wouldn't even say they hate you. I would say more or less than none, probably 80% of the time, if somebody's mad at you directly, it's it's just a heat of the moment thing because, they might give you a hard time like, oh shit, Alex is in the room. But I like that because let me ask you this. If you're running in front of somebody, you tend to give up the spot pretty easily, right? You're like, yeah, I don't want to screw up this driver's stuff, right?
Yeah.
See, I'm a personal believer, and a lot of people are going to hate me for saying this, but I think you should get in their way and run them as hard as you possibly can. The reason I say that is because it makes them wind down to the point like they have to think, they have to process what's going on, and then they have to make the right decision. Because I think too often than not, the guys, especially in Chop Shop, they get used to, like, we know who the top 10 fastest guys are, and those are the guys that are going to race each other, and they race hard enough. They race hard enough, long enough. They know, Striker knows exactly what John's going to do. John knows what Striker's going to do when they're up front. But if they throw a wild card up there like you, they don't know you're a wild card. They have no damn clue.
Yeah.
I would say it would be in everybody's best interest that you do get in the way more, personally, because if I'm racing you for a spot, whether it's 20th or first, and I'm struggling getting around you, and nothing happens, no incidents, no wrecks or whatever, and I end up beating you or you end up beating me, none of that matters. At the end of that race, you're going to be like, okay, I can run hard. I can run right next to this guy. I don't have to worry about him slamming into me, and I don't have to worry about myself slamming into you. I think it'll be a dual compromise on both ends.
Yeah. Because, like, I just wanted to pick some of, like, the last race. So, last race was a road course. And
Yep.
that is like my biggest weakness. You go on a road course, I'll try to go as slow as I can. And you know me, I don't call people's names. I don't know who it was, but all I know is I was driving and I was just slowly cruising around. Next thing you know, all I heard in my ear is, "Hey, pick a line." I was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna chill, just gonna race." But I think that's where, like you said, coming into that heat of the moment thing. I think that person was just the heat of the moment, getting irritated because I couldn't pick a line, and that's one of my flaws too. Is I'm still learning to pick a line, and like you said, I need to race harder, and I've been trying to race harder. Like the first race of the season, I was like, oh, Daytona or Talladega, I think it was. I think it was Daytona. We raced and racing good, and I got knocked out of the beginning. But I felt bad at the beginning of the race when I smacked someone in the behind. I was like, oops, I messed up. But that's one of my flaws too. Is when I mess up, I get mad more at myself. Not because you guys are doing good. I need to stop getting mad at myself more because I'm sitting here beating myself up like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? Like, I need to stop.
And I don't think you should be too hard on yourself. And I want to give you an example why. Is because on Canadian Tire 2, which was our last road course, I struggled. A lot of people struggled. I mean, road courses ain't for a lot of people. And, I took out Jason Day. Hammond hit him in the beginning. He got fast repaired. And then I lost control in front of him, and I ended up wiping him out. Was Day pissed? Yeah, he was. I don't blame him. I was pissed that I took Day out, because he didn't. I was actually the scenario was we were coming off that long straight, and I was going to brake really hard and let him have the corner because I was like 5 laps down. There's no point in fighting those guys. They're racing for a top 10 or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't say it. He just said, "Hey man, I apologize." He said, "Hey man, it's all right." And he got off a little earlier, but he was upset. The reason I bring that up is because I've raced next to Day many, 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 many times. I've never once touched him, and he's never once touched me. So he automatically knew, like, hey man, it was just it was an accident. He knows it
Yeah.
was. That's not my driving style. I was giving it to him. And I think once you get into a rhythm like that, where I'm comfortable around you now because I've raced next to you so many times. At
Yeah.
first I wasn't, but I wasn't comfortable myself. So I would say that if I were you, man, don't take my advice. Don't take my advice. I'm sure you watched me and Jason's podcast because we talked about you a little bit there. I'd run all these bastards harder. Make like that guy, like you said, he said pick a line. I said fuck you, buddy. Figure it out. You want to get around me? Find a way. That's the
Yeah.
whole point of racing, man. Is you got to find a way around somebody. Now, I mean, if you're 5 laps down and Nathan Bigger's leading and coming around, and they're racing for a race win, yeah, get the hell out of the way. Let them run that thing as hard as they can. But
Yeah.
if you're a lap down trying to stay above, trying to just stay 1 lap down or the lucky dog or whatever, run them as hard as you can, man. They'll respect you more for it. I
Yeah.
truly believe that. They might hate you at first, but they'll come to respect you.
Yeah.
Getting that out of the way. Because I've seen you improve. I think everybody's seen you improve. A lot of people. I don't think a lot of people congratulate face to face often enough. When they do a good job. And I've seen massive improvements in your racing. How long have you been iracing for?
This would probably be gonna be going on 2 years because I didn't get into it until last year. So yeah, it's gonna be going on 2 years.
Is that consistent or is
Yeah,
that
that's
back and forth?
that's
Okay.
consistent because I did try to apply for it in 2018 at one point, but I didn't have a steering wheel, and I did pay for like a month, but that went out because I didn't have anything. But I didn't fully start being consistent racing until last year.
Okay. So I mean, it would be safe to say that you got a full year of consistent racing
Yeah.
underneath your belt. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, and the reason I bring that up because obviously, I started in 2017 and I didn't race nearly as much as I have, since when I start back up September, October, somewhere in there. So I think a year, 2 years is probably a good pivot point to where you'll massively see changes.
Mhm.
What do you think your biggest flaw is when it comes to being able to move up to 10th place or 5th place, progressively getting faster?
My biggest flaw is I would say three wide situations because when I go three wide, it doesn't matter what track it is, doesn't matter if it's the smallest track or biggest track. When it hits three wide, I am the first one to hit the brakes and back down. I don't want to fight for that position because I don't want the incident points or I don't want to wreck my truck immensely. And I want to try to encourage myself more to push myself to that three wide. Be steady with them. Be like, I'm going to battle with you guys and I'm not going to give it the spot.
Do you run on a single monitor?
I do. Right now,
Okay.
this is my setup. So like I have 3 monitors, but I only run the one
The
monitor
one.
until I can get 3 uh same size monitors. Then I'll probably do 3 monitors, but I have like 3 different monitors. It's not gonna add up.
And you run a spotter, right?
Yes, I run a spotter.
Yep. I would say, and I'm not the greatest guy to give advice to. I'm one of those guys. I can fix people's driving style. I can fix somebody's golf game, but for some reason, when I analyze myself and I know what I need to do, I can't apply it to myself. So take it with a grain of salt, obviously. I would say, the second you hear, if you're in the bottom and they says 3 wide, see where your car is at that exact moment. Whatever reference point you can use, and stick it and grip it. I mean, that's my best advice. Same with the center or the high side, and just see what happens. I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, whether it's the way I like 3 wide scenarios is the guy that puts that situation on deck. If there's an accident, it falls on his shoulders for
Yeah.
putting people in that situation. A lot of people will disagree. That's just my personal belief. It is what it is. What other than 3 wide scenarios, um, what's some other things you think that you could do to push yourself to be a little bit quicker?
Um To be honest, I don't know. I would say just trying to practice every day that I can. So like when Chop Shop puts up uh practice races and I can just go in there and practice for hours and hours. Now, like I tell people, there's sometimes I can't get to practice because I have to either help my dad or I gotta help my mom and I have stuff going on. So sometimes my practice is that hour of practice we get before our race starts. And that's the best I can do is just get up. Instead of sitting in the pits, I need to just keep running and keep running. I just have a habit of sitting in the pits like 30 minutes before the race and just chilling when I could be out there practicing.
You know, another thing you could do is ask. Ask Striker, hey, what steering ratio are you running? What offset are you running? You know, anybody, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, I think confidence is a really funny thing. I think, one, me personally, if I were critiquing you, I would say confidence is your killer. I think that's why you're not doing as well as you should be doing. Personally,
Yeah.
that's my belief. I think the second Alex Thompson walks into a room and he's like, I hope you guys are ready to fight for second place because I'm putting my truck to the front. That's going to open a lot of people's eyes to like, what the hell? This guy never talks like that. He's serious. He must know something we don't. And it's like anything else. You're getting in their head,
Yeah.
you know. And I think that would do you some good, personally.
That's the same thing with a lot of my official races too that I do. Just everyone tries to get in my head and they get into my head where compared to real life, oh, if it was real life, I would just be sitting there. I wouldn't even think. I have the confidence. I'm gonna push you. I'm gonna make you work for the spot. If I come to iRacing, I don't know where my confidence went from real life to iRacing. It just gone.
Well, and I'll tell you because I raced. I raced outlaw hobby stocks. I raced modifieds. I raced four wheelers, and I have championships in all of them. I'll tell you, it's funny because I don't know how your local dirt track runs, but the way mine ran is the entry was right off of 4, and you just kind of come up over the hump, and then you would be on the front straightaway every time. So to put this in perspective, my last year racing, out of 18 races, I only lost 3 of them. I won the rest. So I swept the entire season. It was embarrassing to even race with me. So I knew coming into the race that I was the guy to beat. And when I was sitting there and staging, I absolutely hated racing for some reason. I didn't want to be there. I didn't know why I was there. I was like, this is stupid. But then once I got into the track, it was all business. And you just, I don't think you can get that out of iRacing because those guys are in your ear. They're ready to go the whole time. You're not waiting. You're not watching. So it's a real hard thing to transfer dirt racing and real life racing to simulation racing because you can't. I don't think you can feel everything you absolutely need to feel. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've been feeling the same way, like, because I don't get a whole sim rig like most people do, where you can't feel the whole thing. I'm just in a chair.
Yeah, I mean that. Unfortunately, that also plays a factor for whatever reason. Um, how how many leagues do you run in normally?
So to be honest, I only run your league or the Chop Shop League, as far as I know. That's the only one I run. Um, I am in another league, but I don't race it. I'm more of like the admin type of deal. But I would say just running just the Chop Shop League. That's all I really run.
Is Chop Shop the first league you've ever ran?
No, the first league I ever ran was a dirt series with street stocks, and they called themselves Dirt Assassins.
How'd you do there?
I didn't do too bad when we first came out. I think I did like decent. They don't have the league up anymore, but I think I took like maybe top 10 if I was lucky.
Well, hey, that's good. Since you've been racing with Chop Shop, have you seen your like official races improve at all?
That I have. I have seen my official races improve immensely. Just got to keep myself out of the wrecks.
I mean, I the best way I can tell you there is qualify up front. I mean, that's all you can do. And
And that
league racing is completely different than official racing.
that's what I've been told with official races too, is to qualify up front. But then I've also heard, no, just start in the back, and I'm just like, I don't know what to do. So I just started qualifying and doing the 2 laps of clean laps, just no wrecking, no hitting walls, just 2 clean laps. So I get the gist of the track, and I just feel like when you go into an official race, like the 3 minute practice you get, there's not enough to really practice. So that's why I do the qualifying. But I mean, sometimes I'm all over, and I don't mean to be. I want to be consistent. That is my goal, to be consistent.
Why are you so worried about instant points?
Well, when I first started, I wanted to get up to the A class. And I always thought, okay, safety rating is the best way to get up there with people and race the good racers. Then I learned it's not the safety rating, it's the I rating. So then I started boosting my I rating up, and I try to do safety rating, but I've just always been trying to be a clean driver, and it's just always been in my gut. I want to be a clean driver. I don't want to be that type of person who comes into every single race and wrecks you. So my goal is
Which is
just,
kind of the reputation you have now, just so you know.
I know, trying.
So that being said, do you think that I mean, that being said, do you think it's working?
Nothing's
So
working.
so what if you're like, screw I rating, screw safety rating, I'm gonna go out and try to win. Obviously, you don't want to hit too many people because it's going to mess your car up, and then your
Yeah,
aerodynamics is out the window, right? But if you start racing harder, and let's just say you and I are racing really hard, and you end up coming up the track and you tag me in the side, but we both keep it straight, we keep racing. I would think that would be more beneficial to you than playing it safe, just for the fact that you know how close then you can get to the car next to you before you hit them. Therefore, I think it would help you be able using up more track space.
yeah,
Because like one of the problems I've seen you have is the same problem I have as well, is our exits out of corners. You know, if you watch a lot of the guys, I like using Nate because Nate's so goddamn good. Is if you watch Nate in the corner, about halfway in the corner, he's already coming back up the track, getting ready for his exit. You and I, we'll stick it and we'll ride that rim all the way around to the straightaway, and then when we go to get back on it, we're still steering. So when we throttle up, obviously, that's how you're spinning out.
yeah,
With Nate, he's actually turning right to keep it straight because he's throttling toward the wall, and then by the time you get there, he's straight and just off to the races.
yeah. That's my struggle too. Is the corners. I come out, try to turn left and hold it left, and I start gassing more, and then, like you said, just spin out.
Yeah. Do you think? I mean, do you think that it's a comfort thing? Like not just like in your rig itself. I mean, are you comfortable sitting in your rig where your wheels are, pedals, all
I'm
that fun jazz?
I'm comfortable, and um, one thing I wanted to point on is like people say they've never seen an iRacer or people drive straight arm, and they say it hinders them. I've drove ever since I started iRacing. I've always drove straight arm. I don't know why, but it just was like you said, a comfort thing. driving straight arm was a comfort thing to me. So when I drove straight arm, I felt I did better. But then when I started doing just bending my arms, I felt like I started doing worse.
Well, race straight arm then. I mean, look at again, Nate. He drives one-handed a lot, and everybody'd be like, I don't know if that's the best case. Dale Earnhardt Jr. Every time he would turn, he would take his other hand and bring it over where he's turning and come down, so his hands were right next to each other. I hated watching Dale Jr.'s in-car camera. For some reason, I'm just like, how is he able to race at that pace with two hands right over at the side, right next to himself, and then he just brings them back like it's normal? That's the craziest thing. But he won races. He was fast. I mean, could you imagine him doing that at Talladega at 200 miles an hour? That's crazy. Who drives like that?
That would be like I love watching Dale Jr., but I couldn't even do that. Just having two hands to the side, like I'd have to have it like here because I have the better steady than just two hands on the side.
Right. And so I mean that goes into effect. Like if it works for you, it works for you. Don't let anybody critique. That's one thing I would say. Get comfortable, like stationary comfortable, like whether it's straight arm, bent arm, one arm, whatever. If that's how you feel, that's how you feel. And then force yourself to get used to it, to like find out where your truck's starting to slide. I'm to the point now, I think, that I have a good idea when my stuff's going to slide, and I have a good idea of, I used to correct my stuff by just going like this. Now when I correct my stuff, I'm like really fast. I just twitch it back over to straighten it back out. And I found, like, for me, it corrects the car a lot faster.
Okay.
That's just my style. What do you think? What are your thoughts of Chop Shop just in general? Like what do you think about the atmosphere, the racing, how it's being ran? If you could critique it or would critique it, how would you do it? What would you like to see in the future? Stuff like that.
So the one thing I wanted to critique was like the dirt series, because I love running dirt. If I could run dirt all day, every day, I would. The only reason why I didn't do Monday this season is because I made a deal with family members that I would do one league a night, which is fine. But I would say, let me start with this. Overall, Chop Shop runs beautiful. It's straightforward, no BS. If something's gonna go wrong, you need that's why I love the claim system. You claim it, it's your fault, whatever. The critiquing I would say on the chop dirt, I would say is you can go whenever the pace car comes off, but I would think more go anywhere between 3 and 4. Because if some of the we'll take Lincoln for example. When we did Lincoln, the pace car goes off in the back straightaway. So if we go whenever the pace car goes, you're clearing a bunch of black flags because everyone's not in their position. They're still going. I would say if you're gonna start a race, make sure to say, hey, you can go anywhere between 3 and 4. That is your start. Whether the pace car is off on the front straightaway or the back straightaway or the side, they need to have a set position. That'd be the only critique.
Do you think that let's just say we did do that and we changed it to 3 and 4, because that's so, like Knoxville Raceway where I'm from, it's anywhere in 4. I mean, it's whenever the leader decides to go. I guess I don't know. Wouldn't you get black flags if you started anywhere in 3 and 4 and the pace car was still on the track?
So 3 and 4 it would not, because we've tested this out. I've tested it out on officials. So one of the races I had to start pole in a heat, which was surprising. So I was like, well, I'm gonna try to go in 3 and 4, see if it throws any black flags. We went, nothing ever happened. It all was just beautiful. No one got a black flag. No one came over the intercom like, hey, I got a black flag for passing under yellow. It was all straightforward.
That's interesting. That might be actually something we need to look into. or at least talk about. And I think Chop Shop's good in that aspect when it comes to uh, adjusting the rules to where it's fair for everybody. Sorry here, mute that. I do like that. What's so you said you run one league a night? Is that just Tuesdays?
Just the Tuesdays, yeah.
Just Tuesdays. I guess the question is when you do get your own places, are you gonna ramp up the racing, or are you just gonna keep it?
I'm probably gonna get that place more races during the week. I'll probably run Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, anytime I can. I just can't do Fridays because in real life, during the summer, I race Friday nights, and then I bowl Friday nights during the winter season. So it's kind of like an off. But also, I have been promising my fiance that I would hang with her more. We haven't done much like going on date nights or anything because I've been kind of pushing her away, and I don't mean to. She kind of gets irritated with me doing a lot of iRacing, but that's where, as of right now, me and her we came to a compromise of one league race a night until I get better Wi-Fi where we're staying.
How old are you?
I am 28 years old.
28. Oh, you got a long time to figure shit out.
Yeah. So
I got random stuff falling in my house. I got kids' toys next to me. Um. So you would critique 3 and 4 in the dirt. The rest of the series you think runs pretty smooth.
I think it does. The one also another thing I would probably critique is a lot of the talking over Racecom. So like, yeah, we talk over Racecom, like say, hey, I'm gonna give you the line, or hey, I see you, like Ryan, I see you pass me, I'm slow, my car's a little beat up or whatever, go around me. I would say more so like if you're cussing over the intercom or like you're fighting, like I I I feel like I hear a lot of that still, and it needs to minimize.
Yeah, and I could tell you it always happens when we get a bunch of new drivers every time, and it's just people getting used to the way things are ran. I mean, I would say it's I mean, a lot of those guys aren't going to be around. I mean, they'll come and go. I think 9 times out of 10, you know, say you bring 10 new guys into a series, there might be 1 to 3 that'll stick around for the long haul.
Yeah.
Hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully there's more, later on in the future. But I know Alonzo King is super fast on dirt a lot. I know Warner definitely is super fast on dirt. Church has always been fast on dirt. Have you ever thought about, getting with some of those guys and kind of formulating, kind of like a little team effort there?
I have. I thought about it just to learn better for like the Pro Late models and 360s because I've raced it. That first race that we had, the first dirt race was I was in the top 3 with Alonzo King, and I was struggling, and I was like, why is he so fast? And then I would talk to him, and then he gave me a few pointers of what I should do better, where I should correct like my steering ratio or my offset. So I've been playing around with those, but yeah, I fully thought about just getting with most of these dirt guys and be like, hey, can you help me on where I'm struggling at, and see if they can help pick like pick out where my flaws are for the dirt and where I can get better at.
Do you have you picked up anything by following those guys around the track? Just seeing what lines are running and whatnot.
I have when I was racing that whole first season of dirt, I was picking up where Alonso was running and where like Brian Warner were running. I was watching them and just trying to run their lines, but my problem was making it my own line. I would run their line, but then probably turn a little too much or do something to make it extra my line, and I messed myself up more, and I should have just ran the line they're running to see if it made me faster.
Yeah. I mean, I could see that because I mean, I've caught myself doing the exact same thing. And like a lot of them say, especially church, slow is fast. I know it might be hard to believe, but I used to wax church on dirt all the time because I'm the one that got him into iracing, and then he just stuck with it, and I kind of got out of it again, and then here I am trying to play catch up. It's one of the things you said was like Friday nights you rate, or what was it?
Friday,
One of the nights
I do bowling and I do real racing on Friday nights, so Friday nights are usually out of the question.
you brought that up. Did you know that Wesley is a huge bowler? I believe Hard Tongue is too, but might try forming an alliance with those guys because Wesley's been. I mean, look at Colby, won the Truck Series last year.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley this year's just been on a tear for some reason right out of the gate, which is super awesome because
Yeah.
he's just kind of chilling last season. Now he's challenging everybody. That might be a good group. Try conning your way into.
Yeah, thought about talking to Wesley about bowling too, because like you said, he's a big bowler, and I was like, I've been struggling in real life bowling too, so I'm like, I need to do something, and I figured I could take a video of some stuff, and he could tell me what I need to do.
I'm sure he could critique you in like 5 seconds, bro.
Oh, probably could.
It's all cool because I used to be big into bowling myself, and I've bowled. I want to say like 4, maybe 6 300s, and it's just something I naturally picked up. The whole reason I got into it was because it was dollar pitcher night, so I was just drinking beer, getting messed up, and I was grabbing these house balls and just launching them as hard as I could, and then I realized like, damn, there's a little bit actually to this, so I bought a ball and I started learning how to spin it, and it just kind of took off from there. So I get it, man. I love bowling. It's just there's nothing close by me.
Yeah, and I bowled last year, January 21st. We were bowling. I've never bowled out of the whole many, like 15, 16 years. I've been bowling since I was like 5. So from 5 until 28. Out of all the years I've been bowling, I've bowled 1 300, and it was just talking to someone, not even doing anything. And next thing you know, I was like, wait, I just bowled a 300. This ain't right.
Didn't even know it.
No, I didn't even know it. And then
That is insane.
and then someone turned, like one of my teammates. He makes me laugh so hard. He is like a brother to me, and he just turns around and he's just like screaming. I'm just like, what'd I do? And then I looked up, I was like, oh, 300. Then the next game I
That
bowled,
is nuts.
the next game I bowled wasn't a 300. It was like a 2 something.
That's insane. Because I can't remember the stats, but I knew it was a very, 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 very low amount of people that's ever been able to do that.
Yeah.
So that's crazy that you were able to do it and not even know it at that is bizarre to me.
And then since I had a 35 pin handicap, the total was 335.
Holy shit. Oh yeah, you definitely took pictures. Good for you, man.
And this is where, that's why I said my buddy down here, we made fun of him.
That's awesome. That is amazing, man. That is absolutely amazing. Well, damn. That's listen, man, I had to work for mine. All 4 to 6, however many I got, I had to work for each one of them. And I tell you what, by the time I got to the 10th frame, I was shaking the whole time. Maybe that's what it was. You were just chill, calm, and collected.
Just was. I was just like, oh, it's just another game. Whatever, I'm just going to keep bowling. And then after I bowled at 300, I bowled like 5 more strikes in a row this third game. I was like, this ain't right.
Have you ever bowled any sanctioned events?
Yes, I will be bowling a tournament tomorrow. I got to bowl doubles and singles.
What's your favorite pattern?
I don't have a favorite pattern, to be honest. With bowling, I've loved bowling so much, I love them all. Even the pro shot, like the USBC Pro Bowlers that bowl on. I love to bowl that every chance I get.
What's your weakest pattern?
A very, very, very dry lane. You give me a dry lane. Like right now, I am like almost to the center dot. If I have to throw off a very, very, very dry lane, I gotta go way left and crank that thing as hard as I can for it to react.
Cheetah. Cheetah was the one I hated the absolute most. Which is weird because it's almost the polar opposite of a dry lane. Obviously the front, 25, 30 foot's dry, but then it's just soaked. And I think it just pushes all the oil to the pins, and it's harder to get a reaction at the back end. Because I always start third arrow off the right, roughly, and I got to wait for it to come to the pocket. So that's nor here nor there, but I can't. I would have called I'll be honest with you. I would have called bullshit on that 300. I really would have.
Oh, trust me. So what am I?
But that dude, that's just awesome. Straight there is nobody in their right mind. This is how freak of a nature you are. There is nobody in their right mind going bowl 300 and not know it.
Yeah. All I know is I took some of the strikes on my 300 should have not been strikes. I am not kidding you. I threw it so bad, and one of the pins just slowly, like, it fell. What the heck? Okay.
Or you throw an old. I know a couple of my 300s. I had a couple Brooklyns on there. I don't know if you even know what that reference is.
Oh, Brooklyn. I get those all the time.
Okay. All right. So, it's when you miss the pocket, but you hit the other pocket.
Yep.
That's what a Brooklyn is, guys. If you're right-handed, you're aiming for the right of the head pin. When you Brooklyn it, you hit left of the head pin, and you just kind of knock them all over anyways. It's just kind of weird how it works.
Oh, yeah.
Let's get back on to iracing though, because that's cool though. You should definitely show Wesley that though.
Mm-hmm.
Wesley will appreciate that. And I bet you everybody on your team that you were playing, or everybody on the opposite team that you were playing against, were absolutely pissed. Because I would have been calling you a sandbagger right out of the gate.
Trust me.
Right out of the gate.
I was called a sandbagger that night.
Anywho, what's one of the things that you think coming into this truck season, because it's we've had a phenomenal turnout.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's going to get better as it goes. What's your plan this season with the trucks to better yourself than you did the season previous to that?
So my plan is to at least make top 10 before the final 12. That is my goal, because last season I was in the fight for the best of the rest and I got knocked out, but I still came and raced the rest of the season. But my goal is to at least get top 10 before the final 12 so I can show people, hey, I'm not here just to be an extra driver. I want to show you guys I can actually race and prove my worthy that I'm a force to be reckoned with.
I like that. I like that. I hope you carry that same mentality with you each and every race, just to be like, boys, I'm here to race. I'm not going to get out of the way. I'm gonna run you the way you run me. One of the big things I actually learned it from Stryker, and I think we were doing the Toys for Tots race at Kansas, if I remember. No, maybe it's for the championship. I can't remember, but I know it was at Kansas, and I was racing him side by side for 5 laps straight. And what I thought was running as hard as I possibly could was just Stryker running normal. Like, he wasn't really pushing it. He's pushing it to the point to get around me, but he wasn't pushing it to the point to where he was on the verge of losing control, and that's where I was. So my basic understanding of how hard I actually can run versus how hard I thought I was running, 2 very different things.
Yeah.
Um, what was I going to say? Let's go. Let's go with the truck still. We're pushing. We're going to push for a top 10 this year. I mean, why not push it even harder? Shoot for a top 5, top 3.
Because so my brain works differently than most people. So I always go into a race thinking, oh, I'm just gonna lose. I'm just gonna lose. Because the first time I always kept saying, oh, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win. I didn't win. I always wrecked myself out. So the more I say, oh, I'm just gonna go for a top 10 or I'm just gonna go for a top 20, my mind's like, okay, you're not really gonna do that. You're not gonna do much. In reality, I'm pushing as hard as I can, and might surprise you, I might get a top 5 or I might get a top 3. But it's just how my brain process worked. It even happened in real life too. I'd go to my sport combat, I'm not gonna win tonight. And lo and behold, I took second in points this year for or last year for 2 tracks. So I
Oh,
mean,
sweet.
I
Putting in the work.
oh yeah, and I went to Super Nationals, Boone, Iowa, and I was like, oh, I'm not gonna make the A main. 95 of my cars came out, and I'm one of the top 30 that made the A main, the first the actual show, and I started 19th in the A main out of 30 cars.
Where'd you finish?
19th.
Some heavy hitters in the Super Nationals.
And it was sad that I made the national points leader, or two of us made a national points leader go through a B main just to get to the A main to start behind me.
Did he end up getting around you?
No, I think he ended up wrecking.
Okay. How much? What? How? Just out of curiosity, you don't have to answer me. How much did you get paid to make the show?
I made $50, finishing 19th.
Hey, man. Hey, so it's because obviously I'm from Iowa.
Yep.
Obviously, I've been to Super Nationals hundreds of thousands of times.
So then they start 3 wide on majority of their races.
Absolutely, yep. And it's the thing I love about Boone. I would say about 10, 15 years ago, they raised the incline on the corners because they were having problems with people not being able to run the high side.
Yeah.
And then so they had the boys over in Marshalltown come over and they imported a bunch of dirt, same place Knoxville gets theirs. And they piled it up, built it up, and then I love Boone. It's super, super fast. And I thought they would go away from front wheel drives because they rut up so hard. So I'm actually shocked that they didn't.
So
I mean, that's cool though.
that's one of the things that us front wheel drives fight at our track. Everyone says that we tear up the track and we dig the track. We are the lightest class you can ever think of because according to the rules, everything has to be stock, and the only thing you can take out is the inside of the car and the trunk. That's it. Other than that, you have roll cage, and everything else has to be stock to the like stock to as stock as it can be. You can't do anything besides tune the computer, mess with your toe and camber, and put spring rubbers in. That's about it.
So you didn't try to cheat at all?
You can't.
No, you can. There's ways. You can.
But I mean, I'm not a mechanic. My dad is, though. He's been a mechanic for 30 plus years. But he is the one that, when he makes our cars, stock, pure stock to what it's supposed to be. And I still run up with the big boys.
Do you plan on going back to Boone?
That's my goal. I'm trying to save up to go back to Boone again this year. That's my goal.
You go to Boone. If you go to Boone, I'm flying up to watch. That's all there is to it. I love love the Super Nationals. I think it's a phenomenal show. They have great promotion. The prices aren't bad. The track is flawless every single day. They do such a good job there, and it's something that you are very privileged to have done that.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of people, especially making the show. There's a lot of people that go there and they don't even come close. And I mean, I got a buddy that has been run up there, and he's made 2 appearances out of like 17 years in the show. It's so hard to get to the show, so hard over a 4-day event.
Like I have my brother. Like I talk about my brother all the time, and that's one of the reasons why I'm gonna like I've told a lot of the chop shop drivers I've been running that Talladega for the Special Olympics. My brother is a big supporter in what I do, and when I made the A main, he didn't even care that I took first. That I started second. I was first majority of the race, and at the last minute, a girl passed me. Trust me, I get made fun of all the time for that. It's funny. Um, I have not seen my brother down 3 of those 1919 root beers. He downed them, like shotgunned them, and we thought he was going to throw up. But he is one of my biggest supporters in racing, whether it's iracing or real racing. He supports me in everything I do, and I cannot do anything without my brother. He is immensely.
That's awesome. And obviously your dad, since he does, all the work.
He races too.
Does he?
Yep, he's raced. He raced back when we used to be called Thunder Fours before we were IMCA Sport Compacts.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah, damn, dude. I forgot all about the Super Nationals being an IMCA sanctioned event. Because I know for the big boys there are some sweet prizes to win the show. Toolboxes, tires, and
Yep.
anything and everything you can imagine. Plus cheddar. Everybody likes cheddar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
What was it to win that event? Do you know what the grand purse was for the
For
front
the
wheel
Sport
drives?
Compacts, it was 1,500 to win.
Plus AFCO parts, I'm assuming.
Probably something like that.
Right. I know AFCO always sponsors the event for the most part. Um, I really think you should get with, Wesley, Church, and whatever series you're running with, and get with some of those guys too. Just a mentor, and I think because I'm a firm believer that the better you do, the more fun you have. The more fun you have, the more often you're going to do it. It's not going to be a bad experience, because I think a lot of people, they get a rig, or they spend thousands of dollars on their stuff, and they find out they're not as fast.
Yeah.
They're not as fast as what they should be, type of thing. I have a very expensive rig, and I'm in the back 90% of the time. I mean, I think I've made a couple showings up front, but it doesn't. The rig has nothing to do with it. I mean, if you've watched any of the podcasts,
Yeah.
Biggerts folds up and you can put it away, and that guy wins all the damn time. So don't beat yourself up and keep after it. I mean, I think you're doing great. Who are some of the guys in the league that you think you look up to, and some of the guys in the league you're kind of like, I don't want to run next to this guy for whatever reason?
Well, one of them, when I first started, I looked up to you because I was like, oh, he's a good racer. I can probably learn a few things from. John Hammond is one that I look up to. Michael Strickland, even Nathan Biggard and Robert Church. Like majority of you guys, I try to look up to because I was like, I know I can run better than them. I just got to figure out why I'm not.
What about the guys you don't like running near?
I'm not a big fan of running by Grahava. Keyword is I ran against him before Chop Shop, and the last time I ran against him, me and him had a little bit of conflict, and I just kind of didn't talk to him and just laid it to rest, and I just didn't want to fight people. So I just...
Yeah, I mean, you don't strike me as the kind of person that likes controversy too much.
No, because I've grown up with a big heart, and I like to always give people a second chance. So I'm a person like, if something's going wrong with you, I'm gonna help you before I help myself, and it's just
Right.
the way I've grown up.
Give the shirt off your back kind of guy.
Yep.
I like that. That's admirable.
So like, if you're struggling in the chop shop racing, I'd rather help you before I help myself.
Brother, if you got some cheat codes to beat these ass clowns, help me out.
Wreck them. That's all I gotta do.
I don't even remember what race it was, but the one race I qualified really good in the top 4. Biggert spun his goddamn tires and took me out. And I've never been in that position to where I had a great car and I get tore up, and to be able to come back from that. He came back from it fine, because it's Nathan. You can give him 3 tires and a motor and he'll figure it out. Me, I need a clean car because I suck.
So do I.
Anyways, man, I've learned a lot about you. It's I didn't know you were a bowler. I didn't know you went to Super Nationals, which is also awesome.
And if you also haven't seen
Ooh, you got one of the chop shop mugs,
this,
huh?
well, I didn't win it, but this is for the first and second place. So this one will just say second place. The other one says champion. So when John Hammond gets with me, these will be sent out to the first and second place people.
Oh, phenomenal! Those are the cups, huh?
Yep, they're from Arctic,
I think.
and they also get a sticker.
Oh, sweet. I think Alonso's getting one of them, if I remember right.
Alonso's getting one, and I think Strickland. I think that's who tipped second. Striker, yeah.
Striker needs a cup. Yeah. Striker needs a cup so he shuts up a little bit and drinks a little more. I agree with that. Where'd you get those at?
So I have a buddy.
You guys make them, or?
No, I have a buddy of mine who actually makes them, and he has a Facebook called A1 Laser Engravering, and he's the one who I got them through.
Right on. So that's where Hammond's ordering all of them from, then?
If he wants more, that's what we'll order them through, and then he'll send me, and then me and him will diverse stuff, and then I'll talk to my buddy and get it going.
That's good, man. I like that you're getting engaged more when it comes to stuff like that. I think that says a lot about your character, and at the end of the day, you just gotta brush everybody else off. They'll come to either love you or hate you, type of thing. You know how people are, and it is what it is at that point. I could care less if anybody likes me or not.
Yeah.
I just kind of do my thing.
At first, growing up, I used to be like, I need everyone to like me. I need everyone to like me. And then halfway through high school, I was like, why do I need to make people like me? I don't care no more.
No. Well, and a good thing about like the podcasts is giving people a voice to voice their opinions, concerns, whatever, talk about race and talk about their own personal life is a good way for others to obviously get to know Alex Thompson, what he's about, what he does, what his plans are coming up, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, man, that's cool. I want to thank you for coming on. I know it was last minute, but I got this big, beautiful curtain behind me so everybody can stop complaining that they could see around. So yeah, it's good stuff. If you have any shout outs, go ahead and give them.
I mean, I gotta give a shout out to you for putting a lot of this stuff on. I mean, I'm glad you guys came up with the Chopp'n It Up podcast. I mean, it's fun to listen to. Like, I'll even go on YouTube and watch some of the podcasts that you made with some of the other guys and listen to what they have to say and see if, like, even if it's about me, I just want to learn to see, okay, where can I fix what I've done wrong? And just watch a lot of people's learn more, like you said, learn more about other people too. And I gotta thank all the Chop Shop guys, even like you guys letting me in with open arms, like just letting me in racing. Uh, it's fun to race around a lot of guys and some other people not, but it depends who you're racing. I gotta give a big shout out to my dad who's letting me do this because I was in the middle of helping him remodel some stuff, but uh, I gotta give a big shout out to him because he's like, well, I'll let you do this as long as you come and help me finish up. Like, okay. So and then I also gotta thank my fiance and a lot of people for letting me do the iRacing. It's fun way to learn, and plus it's helped me in real life too.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be anything to boost confidence, man. That's everything in my eyes. Obviously, thanks, Dad. Thanks, fiance. Thanks, everybody that helps him. Also, thanks to our sponsors. Our sponsors are always one that we need to thank. We got MCI Graphics. We have Virtual Velocity Racing. We have GeoMax. We have Admin Box. We have Speedy Trophy Systems. We have the Baller Status Boys. We have Track Racer, My Three Sons, C2 Gaming, Fuego Point. I always mess that one up. Fuego Paints. And anybody that's ever donated to the league voluntarily, all our admins, obviously John and Stryker for even allowing me to do this. Thanks to everybody at home, at work, wherever you're at listening to this, watching this. Thank you for your support. We'll be back on probably next week or the week after for another episode, Chopping It Up. Thanks, Alex Thompson, for coming on board. Everybody else, have a great day.